We'll do it live. Fuck it. We'll do it live. Fucking thing sucks. It's probably the only time I've ever been entertained by Bill O'Reilly. August stream. Probably already knew that I was going to stream today, considering this is the last Friday of August, and I stream on a monthly basis, and it's always a Friday I stream on, so yeah, coming in clutch with this stream. Almost the end of August. Hello, Bond Milker. How are you doing? Hello, Dylan. How are you doing as well? Hello. Hello, Corbin. How are you doing? You're doing good? That's good to hear, Dylan. I am doing pretty swell, I suppose. Yeah, nothing bad is going on, so I'm doing pretty fine. Oh, yeah. Someone very kindly gave me an invite code for Bluesky last night. More specifically, Guitar Rocker 100. She's not here currently. Maybe she'll be here later. I don't know, but there's my Bluesky. It's mirrored for me, but hopefully it's not mirrored for you. It's also in the description. I put it as I added it to be part of the default in my descriptions last night. So if you're part of the Cool Kids Club and have an account on there, feel more than free to follow me on there. I don't know if I'll post on it often, but it's nice to have because, again, fuck Twitter and fuck Elon Musk. But you already know how much I don't like Twitter these days and Musk. Hello, the Wheat Greatness. How are you doing? Bluesky is a little rough around the edges, though, but I'm sure it'll get better over time. I mean, it's still in beta, after all. Muskrats, yeah. Can't fucking stand them. I do kind of hope it takes off, though, because I am enjoying the app thus far. I had a discussion with my mom about people claiming King James was bi and how right-wingers are calling Jesus woke. And what did your mom say about that? I heard something about right-wingers calling Jesus woke, but I didn't look into that. Are they turning on Jesus now? Because if true, holy shit. Oh, yeah. Trump mugshot, too. That shit's fucking glorious. Maybe it should have been the thumbnail of this stream instead of my ugly mug. It could have been Trump's ugly mug instead, but whatever. That shit was hilarious, though. It's been really entertaining seeing the right wing cope on Twitter over this shit, over Trump getting booked. I used to hate religion, but now I'm less judgmental of people's religion, as long as they don't use it as an excuse to be a bigot. I'm pretty much the same. I mean, when I was like 13, I was like your typical Reddit atheist. Oh, religious people are so stupid. They're delusional. They believe in an imaginary friend. When these days, I'm like, whatever. If you're religious, then fine. I've even seen some people I personally enjoy watching say that people who are religious are mentally ill, which I don't agree with. I mean, I know plenty of people who are religious. That's super religious, but they have their own religious beliefs that are fine people. And even though I'm not the biggest fan of Christianity, especially considering its stronghold on this country. If someone is a Christian, but they're not the crazy bigot variety of Christian, then live and let live. I don't care. Let them have their beliefs. I don't think religion has to do with someone's mental state. Sometimes it can be intertwined when it comes to the more crazy people. part of a religion, but all in all, no, no. I used to be Catholic up until I was 12. Yeah, when I was 12, that's when I started questioning religion. I guess maybe that's a little early. I don't know, but no, a personal experience has to do with that. Um, when I was 10, no, I was 11. This is 2012. We lost someone who was really close to us. It wasn't a family member, but he was like family. He was like my grandfather in many ways. And one day he fell, went to the hospital. He also had all other hosts of issues going on with him, especially in his lungs. He was a World War II veteran, and toxins he breathed in during the war uh, fucked with him for the rest of his life, fucked up his lungs for the rest of his life, and that finally caught up with him when he was in the hospital, and he declined fast. And when he was in the hospital, I tried to retain hope, even though they're already talking about taking him off life support, and I was praying for him, and lo and behold, he still died. And that's when I you know, started questioning prayer and religion in general, and I was like, does this shit really work? Is this shit really real? And then uh, about a year later, I was like, yeah, fuck it, I'm an atheist. These days, I'm agnostic. I made a video a few years ago when my grandmother was in the hospital about me moving away from atheism, and I'm still there today. I even prayed for her. That was back when I was an atheist. I was just desperate. I really wanted her to pull through, but alas, she didn't. But this time, I don't know. The experience kind of changed my perspective on religion. It helped me understand why some people are religious, but I'm still not religious myself. I'm like more again, like I said, I'm agnostic, but like more agnostic atheist. I went on a whole ramble there. I'm sorry. I've been ignoring the chat. My hero, Kurt Cobain, was a devout Christian and he served women and minorities in the 90s. Was Kurt Cobain a Christian? I mean, I don't doubt it. I'm not saying you're wrong or lying or anything. I never really looked into Kurt Cobain's spirituality and religious beliefs. I always thought the dude was like an atheist or something, or at the very least, an agnostic. My grandmother is conservative, but for some reason she doesn't like Trump. Not every conservative likes Trump. Believe it or not, the Republican electorate or conservatives in general, I mean, aren't a monolith. A lot of them are being turned off by Trump now, especially with all the indictments, him getting booked last night, the mugshot, all that shit. It's really leaving a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths. All that shit. I mean, of course, it still galvanizes the crazies that are part of his base. But outside of those people, like, is Trump really that favorable these days? I mean, I'm not saying like DeSantis are preferable or anything. Absolutely not. But I don't know. I don't see Trump winning in 2024. I think, the toxicity surrounding him is a bit too much for voters now. Again, with all the indictments, him getting booked last night. Of course, like I said, the crazies that are part of Trump's base, the devout Trump supporters, this shit just, you know, galvanizes them. But all in all, when it comes to like more normie voters in the GOP, I can't see this shit being viewed favorably by them. Kurt Cobain was a Christian, yes. All right, I'll take your word for it. I'm sure you know a lot more about Kurt than I do. I just listen to the music. I never really looked that much into Kurt's life. Oh, hey, Dylan, which album do you like more, Nevermind or In Utero or Bleach? I don't really see people say Bleach is their favorite that much, though. Once I learned about how the world was actually created in school, I dropped religion. All this stuff they spend drilling into your head as a kid gets completely squashed once you learn about reality. I mean, yeah, I don't believe like a magical guy in the sky created the world or anything. I'm not gonna chastise people for believing, religion though, but there's some things you have to acknowledge that is a little that are a little too fanciful, even if you're religious. And then the magic is lost, so it's pointless. She hasn't liked Trump since he was elected. She didn't even vote in 2016. Damn, she lives in Arizona for context. Yeah, there's that. There is the never Trump sector of the Republican Party that's always been there ever since Trump, pretty much ever since Trump announced he was going to be president. It's kind of a dying sector of the Republican Party, though. The old school neocon sector of it, like the Mitt Romney types. My mom said she'd support DeSantis if he runs. Well, he is running, so I assume she supports him now. Nevermind is a good album. Indeed, it is, but I like In Utero more. Speaking of DeSantis, he was really a non-entity in that debate the other night. I actually sucked it up and watched the GOP debates the other night. After it happened, I didn't watch it live or anything, and I didn't even watch the debate itself. I watched the majority report reacting to it. It was painful. I didn't even watch the whole thing. When it was down to the last hour, I was like, "Yeah, fuck this. I don't want to fucking watch this shit anymore." Because they were talking about abortion, and there were some candidates like DeSantis were trying to make it seem like so many abortions happen late into the pregnancy when that's not fucking true. Most abortions happen within the first trimester or shortly after the first trimester. Usually, if it happens later than that, it is usually because the person who is pregnant, the pregnancy is literally a threat to the life of the person who is pregnant. But no, let's ignore that. My grandma was born in 1945, meaning she's still in the silent generation. Wow. My grandma, who passed away a few years ago, was a few years older. She was born in 39. She would have been 84 this year. Yeah, her birthday is May 19th, May 18th, actually. My mom is a millennial since she was born in 1982. My mom was born in 67. If she was a year older, she'd be a boomer. Who, your grandma or my grandma? I don't remember exactly when the boomer generation starts. I don't think it starts in the 30s. Certainly not. So probably your grandma. Oh, wait, no. Boomers is a lot more recent than that, right? I don't think you're talking about either of our grandmas. Oh, wait, no. It did start in the 40s, the boomer generation. Oh, right. Yeah, because a lot of them were children of World War II vets. I kind of forget that the boomer generation goes that far back. My grandparents, aunts, and uncle are boomers, Gen X and Gen Y. I got a lot of Gen Xers and boomers in my family, but that's every family, isn't it? My mom and dad were born in the late 60s. My mom's 66 and my dad's 68. Your mom is a year older than me then. You're older than my mom. I mean, Jesus, no, I wasn't born in 67. Uh, the joy of streaming right after you wake up. Well, not right after I wake up, but wake up and then eat breakfast and then do this stream is prone to a lot of gaffes. Both of your parents are Generation X. That's my mom, I believe, and certainly my dad. My dad is a few years younger than my mom. My grandma is the same age as Charles Martinet. They were both born in 1955. Oh yeah, Charles Martinet retiring from voice acting, or at least retiring from the Mario role. I don't know if this is like I don't know if he's retiring from voice acting in general, but it's bittersweet seeing him not, seeing him step down from being the voice of Mario after, being the voice for nearly 30 years. I thought it was already 30 years he was voicing Mario, but then I remember, oh yeah, Mario 64 isn't 30 years old yet. It's getting there, but it's not quite there yet. Well, was Mario 64 the first time you voiced Mario, or did that typing game come out first? Forget. I think either one of those two games were the first time you voiced Mario. What a perfect voice for the character, too. Because before that, they made Mario sound like some douche from Brooklyn, like the TV show or the CDI game. I wonder who's going to fill the shoes. There's a website counting down until all the greatest silent boomer, Gen X, millennial, and Zoomer generation members are dead. It updates in real time. What a what a very what a very lovely website. Oh, actually, that's pretty fucking morbid. But maybe I'll check out that website out of curiosity. He first voiced Mario in a pinball game. Oh, my mistake. And also at electronic shows on screen with a Mario head. There was a shooting in West Edmonton Mall, largest mall in North America. Luckily, no one died. I live only an hour and a half away from West Ed. I didn't hear about this. Did it just happen? But then again, I wasn't looking at the news before going live. Aside from watching some Majority Report and secular talk, but it wasn't like news that was being news that is ongoing right now. My most nostalgic Mario game is New Super Mario Bros. Wii. Me and my little brother would yell at each other for making each other die in the game. That's actually one of my first Mario games, actually. Um, I remember what made me want to get a Wii was playing Super Mario Bros. Wii at my cousin's house. It was her birthday, and me, her, and some other friends of hers were playing New Super Mario Bros. Wii, and we were having a blast. And I remember after the party, I was begging my mom, "Can we get a Wii one of these days?" And then I eventually got it for, I think, my birthday in 2010. The lackadaisy backer kit has reached 2 million raised. The what? What? I don't even know what the fuck you're talking about. It's awesome being an early 2010s kid. I definitely believe I was born in the right generation. As you should. You should think that. I I'm perfectly happy being born in the early 2000s, 2001 to be exact. March 2001. I I like the generation I was born in. Perfectly fine. I have no complaints when it comes to that. I can't stand the insufferable Gen Zers who are like, I was born in the wrong generation. Why couldn't I have been born when TV was cooler or music was better? Like you have all those cool shows and songs and artists and such at the palm of your fucking hand with devices like this. Earlier generations most certainly didn't have this shit. I was born in the mid 2000s, 2006. I was 5 that year. You were born in 2000, so you're a year older than me. I was born in 2003, December of that year. I see. So I'm gonna be 20 soon. I was born in November 1996, so I'm on the cusp between the millennials and Gen Z. Hmm. Yeah, when exactly did Gen Z start? I forget. Born on the day of Super Bowl 34. Who won that Super Bowl? I genuinely don't know because I don't watch sports or care about sports at all. The only time I ever enjoyed a sport, and I believe I said this in my latest video, but I like playing badminton in high school. In freshman year and sophomore year and junior year, I would play badminton every time, every PE class whenever we had the opportunity with a bunch of friends. That was a lot of fun. But aside from that, I never enjoyed playing sports. I usually don't enjoy watching sports. There's some exceptions though, like like this past Super Bowl. I watched it because the Eagles were there. I like the Arch Fiend, so kind of watched because of that. Same thing with the one from a few years ago, and the Eagles actually won the Super Bowl. I also enjoyed watching the World Cup with my grandmother back when she was still alive. She loved watching the World Cup. It was fun watching with her. I didn't even pay attention to the World Cup, the latest one. Your little brother was born in 2009. Wow, I turned 8 that year. It's kind of surreal. All these kids that were born in 2009, 2010, 2010 especially, they're becoming teenagers now. I remember 2010 clearly. Some researchers say Gen Z starts in 1996 and others say 1997. So there's like a debate between the 2 years. There's a drummer named Logan Gladden who was born in December of 2003 and also on the same day as well. That's cool. I was born I share the same birthday with 2 people, with 2 famous people. Well, there's other famous people I remember that share the same birthday as me, but these are the 2 that I remember off the top of my head. One, Chester Bennington from Linkin Park, and 2, this is the one I'm proud of, Mr. Rogers. Some people born in the early 2010s will enter high school, yeah, within the next few years. Like, if you were born in the 2010s, at most you're 13, so that's still middle school age. But yeah, soon enough they'll be in high school though. Shit. I don't remember much before 2010. I was a toddler before 2010. Well, yeah, you usually don't remember much from when you were a toddler. I barely remember shit from when I was a toddler. I think I have some hazy memories here and there from that time, but all in all, no, I don't remember my toddler years. But most people don't remember when they're a toddler. Your depression started in 2010. Depression is as old as 13-year-old that was born in 2010. Some people said Gen Z started in 95. 95, really? Seems little too early. I think it started Gen Z. We both have blonde hair and blue eyes. We were born in southern states. He was born in Texas, and I was born in Virginia. Maybe you should meet this dude. You have a lot in common. I didn't know until yesterday that I'm the same age as Trump's son. Oh, you are? I remember that kid. Remember a lot of memes being made of that kid around the time Trump was elected because during Trump's victory speech, you saw the kid standing next to him and he looked so fucking bored. Which, to be fair to the kid, I would be bored too. That shit was at like what 3 a.m. Probably wanted to go to sleep. 1999 is the earliest year I can remember. I mean, I have a lot of early memories, but I can't remember when exactly. Oh, what year those memories exactly took place in. But if I had to guess, maybe my earliest memory took place in, I don't know, maybe like 2004, maybe. I have a hazy memory, probably from 2007 or 2008, of me in a baby crib in some dark boiler room. It's weird how that's my earliest memory. There's pictures of me in a crib. Like my crib was in my grandma's room. Before I was born and when I was an infant, before I actually had a bed of my own. This room that I'm in right now is my uncle's room, and I think the room he's in now, which is the room right next to mine, just a room was just like a spare bedroom for like guests or whatever. But then I got older. Obviously, I couldn't fit in a crib anymore. Needed a bed of my own, so I took this room, and it's been my room ever since. Always lived in the same house. I live in the garage because I wanted my own space when I got home from rehab. Yeah, I've known some people who live in a garage. My garage is filled with a bunch of junk, so It's unlivable. We should probably clean out the garage one of these days though, because I'd wager that like 75% of the shit in there is shit we are never going to use or need ever again. Kind of, sort of related to the garage. Well, a few weeks ago, or was it like 2 weeks ago? I don't even remember exactly. People who are in my Discord server could tell me, but my basement flooded every time. Well, not every time, but a lot of times now when it rains heavily, my basement floods. It fucking sucks. We gotta get out a water vacuum that we keep in the garage and suck up the water, and that process can take like 2 hours, depending on how much water gets in there. The only reason I live in a nice bigger house is because Red Deer, Alberta has the cheapest real estate in any city of Alberta. That's nice. I live in a bi-level, so my basement is less prone to flooding. Also, because I live so far from the ocean. Well, I live in New York City, an island, so we're surrounded by water. I like living here, but that's definitely one of the downsides of living here. Flooding. Yeah, I had to stay down in the basement the last time it flooded for like 3 hours. I think it was 3 hours. Yeah, started around 2, and I was down there till around 5. My phone vibrated. What the fuck was that? PlayStation Store, Call of Duty, Modern. I don't care. But yeah, my uncle was there for most of the time. Most of the time I was down there, but eventually he was like, "I'm tired. I'm going to sleep," and I had to stay down there by myself, wiping the floor. So that was fun till like 5 in the morning. Closest I've been to Eastern US was my trip to Niagara Falls and Windsor, Ontario. My dad lives right near the Canadian border, right near Niagara Falls. He's been there so many times. He told me he's been there so many times to the point where Niagara Falls is nothing special to him anymore. Meanwhile, I've never been to Niagara Falls once. I've never been to where he's at. I have memories of playing Donkey Kong Country Return at Walmart. I played the Donkey Kong game that came out on the Wii U. What was it called? Tropical Freeze, I think. That was a fun game. I think it got re-released on the Switch. Maybe I'll buy it someday. Pretty sure I 100%ed it on Wii U. I think at least. Back when I cared about 100% completing games. I'm not a completionist at all these days. Can't give a fuck less, usually. I love living in Canada. We have our own problems here, but I see Canada as the less of two evils. Well, you got some stuff that we don't have, like, you know, universal health care, so that's a nice plus for you. I've never been outside the US before. Same. I don't travel much at all. The farthest I've ever traveled out to was to Ugh, Florida. 2 years ago, because I have my paternal grandmother lives down there. I was supposed to visit her again during Christmas of 2021, but my family kind of sort of went to a party around that time, and there were people at that party that had COVID, and they found out after the fact. I didn't go to this party. I stayed home, but they went, so obviously that was a big concern, and I myself was exposed to them who went to a party that had some people with COVID at it. So obviously that trip had to be canceled. But no, I've never been outside of the US myself. Maybe someday, I don't know, but so far I've never been outside of the US. I have memories of playing the GameCube at a McDonald's playground. Oh God, McDonald's right by me had a GameCube there until I think was it 2017 or 18, either one of those 2 years that McDonald's got a major renovation and the GameCubes were taken out of the playroom. But I remember every time I would go to McDonald's, I would go into that playroom, and I didn't usually play on any of the GameCubes they had there. One GameCube always had a attack game. The game franchise that Nickelodeon show is based off of, Tack and the Power of Juju, I think it was called. And another one had Cars, the game based off of the Pixar movie. And I didn't care about either of them, so I didn't really play on the GameCubes they had there a whole lot. And there was a third GameCube kiosk, but that one never worked. So I don't know what fucking game was in there. But no, those were there for years, those kiosks, and it's a little bittersweet seeing them taken out. I'm not a completionist either. Yeah, I don't know. It's too much of a hassle for me. Like there are some people who play video games and they have to get like every trophy a video game provides, and I'm like, why? I mean, if they feel satisfaction 100% completing a game, then more power to them. But still, I'm like, why? The natives were treated like crap, though. Oh yeah, I'm not denying that. I mean, look at all the mass graves that were found in Canada. I like that Canada has legalized weed and healthcare. Yeah, those are some of the good things over there. All right, gonna have my first smoke today. Might as well mention that I have a prescription because of my autism and chronic insomnia since age 6. That sucks. You deal with insomnia. I mean, I've had my struggles with insomnia in the past, but it was never chronic. Usually, it was stress related. Like just recently, my past college semester, I had a whole bunch of assignments, you know, that were due at the same time. It was finals, and during the college semester, finals are the most stressful time because you have them all at once usually, and I had a whole bunch of essays to write, and that shit can stress me out, and sometimes it fucks with my sleeping. So, but aside from that, no, I don't have any problems with insomnia. I mean, I had a pretty good sleep just this past night. My local McDonald's got renovated in 2016. Before, I remember playing in the play place and seeing pictures of Ronald McDonald and his friends everywhere. Yeah, my McDonald's has something like like that too. Even after it got renovated, there's a picture of Ronald McDonald and all the other uh, all the other McDonald's mascots like the burglar and the purple dude or whatever. I don't remember any other fucking characters' names besides, of course, Ronald McDonald. I've been dealing with insomnia this year. I'm sorry to hear that. I hate the anthropomorphic Happy Meal box being the mascot for McDonald's these days because I grew up with Ronald McDonald. I don't even know what you're talking about because I don't order. I haven't had a Happy Meal since I was a kid. And I don't eat from McDonald's that often either. I know, shocker when you look at me, but no, I don't. Rather not, eat McDonald's all that often or fast food in general. I used to stay up all night sometimes, even when I was a child. I was first given CBD oil to help at age 13, but I started smoking at 14 since I was already familiar with cannabis. CBD oil helps with that. Yeah, sometimes when I get high, I get really fucking tired. I think there were a few instances where I'd actually pass out after getting high. The Hamburglar. Yeah, yeah, that's what the character is called. I'm a mixture of a night owl and early bird since I like to stay up, but also go to bed early sometimes. Oh, when was the last time I went to bed early? Fuck. It's been a long time. Even when I had jury duty a few weeks ago, um, I should have went to bed by midnight, but I didn't. I think I was trying to go to sleep, but then I just couldn't go to sleep. So instead, I opted to chat with people on Discord until like 4 in the morning, and I had to wake up just a few hours later. I had to be at the courthouse by 9 a.m. That wasn't a very fun experience. I didn't actually go into a courtroom or anything. I didn't serve on a jury. I didn't get to that point because when they called my name up, they called me up with like, I don't know, 40 other people. And I thought we were going to a courtroom, but then the lady who called us, she took us to the hallway and she said, well, the case has been adjourned. You don't have to actually do anything. You don't have to serve in a jury. You don't have to go into a courtroom. So here's the paper proving that you were here and you don't have to be called. And you're not going to be called for jury duty for at least another 6 years. So yeah, I'm happy about that at least. Where did I leave off? Ah, the anthropomorphic Happy Meal box I mentioned is a Happy Meal box that appears in commercial and it has eyes, arms, and a cartoon mouth. Well, I know the Happy Meal box, the red one with the mouth, but I don't remember an anthropomorphic one. But I don't watch commercials because I don't watch regular TV. I watch streaming services, and we used to have the plan with Hulu that showed advertisements, but last year we started paying for the ad-free plan for Hulu. So yeah, we I don't see commercials anymore these days, or rarely, I should say. Not even on YouTube because I pay for YouTube Premium. That's cringe, I know, but whatever. I always go to fast food places, but I still end up losing weight because I'm underweight. My favorite spots for munchies are McDonald's and Taco Bell. Well, yeah, some people are built differently. Some people could like eat like a trash can and they don't gain weight, and then other people, they become obese. Depends on metabolism. I don't eat at McDonald's that much as I used to since I prefer Burger King. Yeah, I like myself some Burger King sometimes. It's all the same shit to me at the end of the day, though. I mean, I'm sure there are differences between what Burger King and McDonald's sells, but it's when it comes to shit like the fries they have and stuff like that. Yeah, I don't know. It tastes the same to me. But then again, I don't go to McDonald's that often, and I go to Burger King even less. So I've been charged with theft before. My advice is don't steal. Yeah, don't steal. Especially don't steal from other individuals. Though if you're stealing from a mega corporation like say a Target or a Walmart, I can't really give a fuck less. What a great role model I am. I watch streaming services too, but I still collect Blu-rays of shows and movies since I like physical media. I'm like that with the video games. When it comes to TV shows and movies, and I don't care about DVDs or Blu-rays or any of that shit. I mean, I have DVDs in a bookcase over there, but I haven't actually used any of those DVDs in a long time. When it comes to movies and TV shows, I've completely migrated over to streaming services. Maybe because while I do like TV shows and movies, TV shows especially, it's not a medium I care for, like say video games. So to me, having a physical game collection means more to me than having a physical movie and TV show collection. There's my games over there. I have one rack for my PlayStation games, another rack for my GameCube games. Oh, hey, there's 8 people now. How are all of you doing? I like McDonald's for their Big Macs and Taco Bell for Baja Blast. It's been a very long time since I had Taco Bell. It made me sick one time, so that's kind of soured me from eating Taco Bell. But no, there's one Taco Bell that's right by me, but it's kind of in the same shopping center as a really great pizzeria. So whenever I'm in that area, I don't opt for Taco Bell. I opt for the pizza. Some of the best pizza I ever had. Screw Walmart. Yeah, I agree. I have an online friend, not in my server, but I have an online friend that works at a Walmart warehouse, and I've heard a lot of horror stories from him about how awful that job is. I don't like Taco Bell that much since they're not authentic Mexican food restaurant. Well, yeah, they're not. They're fast food. I hate Mexican food at local places here in Maryland, such as Plaza Talteca and Dos Guabos. Yeah, there's some really good local Mexican places here too. It's NYC. There's a lot of good local places that you could have instead of fast food. That's why I'm overweight. A lot of great local food here. Damn it, I sent another incomplete sentence. Oof. Taco Bell is furthest from real Mexican food ever. Yeah, I don't know anyone who actually claims that Taco Bell is authentic Mexican food. I mean, maybe there's some people out there. I wouldn't be surprised considering this country, but yeah. If anyone ever says, "Oh, Taco Bell is it's just like eating Mexican food," the dumbest motherfucker alive. Hello, element of hope. How are you doing? I got food poisoning at Wendy's, so that's the one place I rarely go to. I don't know if it was food poisoning per se, but I remember getting really, really sick after eating from a local Chinese place that closed down shortly after I got really sick from eating there. So I guess I'm far from the only person who had a bad experience there. But this is back in I think 2016. Yeah, I was a freshman in high school, and I ate there on Sunday. Yeah, it was a Sunday because another week of school was about to begin. And then that night I felt so goddamn sick. And then this is one of the most miserable nights in my life. Like I'd say twice every hour throughout the entire night I was running to the toilet throwing up. It was terrible. And like I said, that place closed down shortly after. So I guess other people have had similar experiences too. And I wasn't the only one in my house that got sick either after eating there. My grandmother also got sick. My mother also got sick, and my uncle who took us there, surprisingly, he didn't get sick at all. He dodged a bullet. One of the three of us got really fucking sick. I also had a similar experience eating Pizza Hut at a friend's birthday party like 10 years ago. I don't know why you'd want to fucking get shit like Pizza Hut though, and here in NYC, really? You have a fucking when you have god tier pizza, local pizzerias at like every corner. But no, I ate Pizza Hut during that party, and I was throwing up the next day. I remember we had an event at at my high school during my senior year. My high school is right by a pizzeria that I order from all the time, and I thought when they said they were getting us pizza, I thought for sure they were getting the pizza from there, but they instead ordered Papa John's, which I don't even know where the fuck a Papa John's is in that area. I didn't even know we had one right by us. I mean, it didn't make me sick like Pizza Hut did, but it still wasn't great. I've been spoiled by great local pizzerias because I live in New York City. What the fuck was that sound? Oh, a siren. I don't know if computers might pick that up though. Tim Hortons is good too. It's like the better version of Dunkin' Donuts. I don't think there is any Tim Hortons around here. Is there? Yeah, there's none near me. Looking it up right now. Yeah, I've never been to a Tim Hortons, but I have been to a Dunkin' Donuts and of course a Starbucks before. There's like a billion different Starbucks that are right by me. You don't have much local stuff here, so I usually go for fast food places. Yeah, I mean that's that must suck. I mean, I'm not trying to knock people who don't have good local places near them. I mean, for some people, fast food is literally the only option. That's horrible because Shit like McDonald's, Burger King, all those other places are terrible for you. Not like I eat that much better, but still. I go to Wendy's sometimes, but I go to Chick-fil-A and Slim Chickens if I want fast food. I have never heard of Slim Chickens before. Is that like more of a southern place? Cheers? Cheers. I don't know what we're cheering, but we don't have a Chick-fil-A in Canada. I've I could probably count on a single hand how many times I've been to a Chick-fil-A. I hate Pizza Hut. Domino's isn't too terrible in my opinion, but I like our local pizzeria 5 minutes away. Yeah, for me, local is always going to beat out the big corporate chains, or at least in most instances. I'd much rather support local places, local restaurants and pizzerias as opposed to places like McDonald's or Pizza Hut or any of that shit. The local pizzerias here, such as Nicoletti's, St. James Deli, and Mom and Pop's, are the best local pizzerias in town. Yeah, like I said, again, that's always gonna beat out the big chain restaurants. Ew, I hate Starbucks. Yeah, I had a coffee there once. I'm not even the biggest fan of coffee in general, though. I've had it a couple of times in my life, and I'm like, could take it or leave it. But my uncle, the one that lives in the room right next to me, he fucking lives off of that shit. He drinks Starbucks all the time, all the time. St. James Deli's pizza slices are huge, and I can barely finish two slices. Sounds nice. I don't eat a lot of junky snacks, but I love fast food. Slim Chickens is a fried chicken restaurant that I think exists mostly in the South or Midwest. Oh, no wonder I never heard of them before. Yeah, there's a lot of chains that people bring up that I've seen people bring up before that I never heard before because they only exist in the South or the Midwest, and and sometimes I'm like, what the fuck is that? And they're like, you never heard of this place? It's everywhere where I'm at. And I'm like, no, I haven't, because it doesn't exist here in New York City. My local pizzeria is called the Pizza Box with two X's. I see. I'm more likely to drink a Monster instead of coffee, and a Monster, I'd rather not drink that shit either. I like coffee, but I've never had Starbucks. Wow. Well, maybe that's for the better. I mean, I've had Starbucks coffee, like I said, and it wasn't anything that great. I mean, I don't hate coffee or anything. Like, if someone offers it to me, I'll drink it, but I it's nothing that I'll drink regularly or anything. Not like my uncle. Holy shit! Like I said, he drinks Starbucks all the time. He's been working here at home ever since the pandemic started. His company still allows him to work here, and on a near daily basis, maybe on a bi-daily basis, he leaves because he still has a lunch hour even. while working at home and goes to the Starbucks that's by our house and he brings home a coffee. Which I mean, there's nothing wrong with that inherently, but I don't know. I don't know his obsession with Starbucks. Honestly, I don't. Again, I've had Starbucks coffee before, and I don't care for it. I rarely go to Starbucks. I like the chicken from Captain D's. That's another place I've never heard of before. Unpopular opinion, but I think pineapple does go on pizza. You're entitled to your own opinion, but I've had pineapple on pizza before, and ugh, ugh. There's a great restaurant that's prominent in the South called Cookout, and they have awesome chicken nuggets, burgers, and milkshakes, especially their watermelon milkshakes. It's another chain I've never heard of before. Wow, you know, all of you are bringing up places that are non-existent here in NYC. I'm still nicotine free, in fact, free of any other drugs other than weed since last stream. That's awesome. Hope you continue to stay clean because you've told me before the kind of shit you were doing before you went to rehab. And, you know, again, I'm really glad you stopped using the hard drugs that'll, you know, could kill you. Oh, yeah, I have been streaming for an hour now. Wow. Yeah, I thought for sure the stream was only going on for like I thought for sure it was still like we were still at like the 40-minute mark. Have you seen Trump's mugshot? Who hasn't seen Trump's mugshot? Yeah, I've seen it, of course. Look at this dude. Oh God. Like I said at the beginning of the stream, and that's when I talked about all the politics stuff. It's been really nice seeing the fucking cope from his base. Like I really fucking hope that this country has some semblance of justice and throws the book at this guy because he literally tried to fucking overturn a presidential election because he is salty that he lost fair and square, but he can't admit that he lost fair and square because he's like a fucking kindergartner in the body of what, an 80-year-old, however fucking old he is now. You know, he has been throwing this temper tantrum for nearly 3 years now. He tried to fucking have an insurrection happen. Throw the fucking book at him. Throw this guy in a fucking cell because he tried to undermine democracy. He tried to thwart the will of the people. Most voters in this country voted him out, but he can't handle that. So you know, his response, instead of acting like a fucking adult and admit that he lost and just go the fuck away, he's still like, no, I won. I won. The election was rigged. Again, throw the fucking book at him. Make an example of him because I don't want. Because if you don't, that sets a fucking precedent. Because any other whack job that may ever hold office in this country could lose, but then they'll just outright deny the results and they won't face any consequences. So please make an example out of Trump. That's my PSA for the day. Peter Piper Pizza is god tier compared to Chuck E. Cheese. Another place I never heard of. Peter Piper Pizza to be exact. Of course, I heard of Chuck E. Cheese before. Oh god, the last time I was in a Chuck E. Cheese was probably 10 years ago, I think. I don't know. I never really liked Chuck E. Cheese that much. Never liked going there that much. Hardly ever went there as a kid. Only if like a friend was having a party there or something that I'd Chuck E. Cheese. There's probably 10 weed stores in my small city. There's a weed store that recently opened up near me. Meth is a hell of a drug. I don't doubt that, and I rather not ever do meth. Closest I'll ever get to doing meth is watching Breaking Bad. What is my opinion on text to speech nowadays? If a video is using a text to speech voice, I am still likely to click off the video. I'd much rather be listening to an actual person narrating a video. Trump be looking so goofy. I know. I know. I can't get enough of this picture, dude. Like, holy shit. Just fucking look at him. The mugshot is hilarious. I know. Yeah. It's even my profile picture on Bluesky. It's not a permanent profile picture, of course. Probably within the next few days, I'll change it to something else. I don't know, but yeah, it's it's hilarious. I mean that really made my night last night. Having a boring day yesterday, and then all the stuff that was going on in Georgia, uh, brought some excitement. That might be sad to admit, but whatever. I didn't watch his Tucker Carlson interview. Speaking of Trump, I know he did that during the GOP debates, but I don't know. I didn't care enough. I don't know what they talked about. Probably him still whining about losing the election fair and square and trying to deny reality and say that it was rigged. But yeah, I don't even think I haven't seen any clips. I haven't really seen anyone talk about that interview. You would think there'd be more buzz around it, but I've seen way more people talk about the GOP debates they did his than they did with his interview of Tucker Carlson. I guess that also speaks to how Tucker Carlson's reputation just really went down the fucking toilet ever since he got fired from Fox. I mean, he has his show on Twitter or X or whatever now, but I don't really hear anyone talking about that. No one really cares. And I don't feel bad at all. Not one bit. Fuck him. Speaking of the GOP debate, there's one person that I want to rant about for a minute. That one dude, Vivek, I think his name is. That one weasel. Guy that tried to be all hip and cool because he's the young guy on the stage, trying to be all quirky and relatable, even though his worldview aligns with an 85-year-old GOP politician. But what really made my blood boil was that one part where he said climate change is not real, it's all an agenda. Even though we're like a week or two removed from Maui getting fucking wrecked by a wildfire, we have all these wildfires cropping up in this country and the world in general. I think 2023 is the hottest year on record, and yet he still fucking denies climate change. Like, it's fucking crazy to me. For those of you who live in NYC, or even if you don't live here in New York, you probably heard of this, but a few months ago, when the Alberta wildfires were happening, the smoke from the fires blew down here, and it fucked with our air quality for a few days. And on top of that, The sky turned orange one day. It looked like a fucking post-apocalyptic movie. If you went outside for even just a minute, that was like the equivalent of smoking like 6 cigarettes at once. So don't fucking tell me this shit is not real. Don't fucking go on, like, you have the fucking audacity to go on national fucking television and say climate change is not real. Again, after shit like Maui happened, the wildfire in Maui, where a lot of people lost their fucking homes, and yet you're gonna say that, there's nothing to be concerned about. This is all a hoax, all an agenda. Fuck you. Like fuck all these rich 1%er entrepreneur pieces of shit who profit off of fucking this world. Like, I hope your money is still worth a shit after this planet is literally fucking uninhabitable to live on. I'm sorry. I, I don't really like getting heated like that on this channel these days, but I had to let that out. That really fucking made me mad. Where the hell did I even leave off? I actually don't even remember where I left off. Mugshot is hilarious. LOL, his mugshot. My mom still defends Trump. Yeah, if you're still defending Trump after all of what's happened, then yeah, you're just far gone, in my opinion. Calling someone a goof in Canada is like calling someone a nonce in the UK. Does goof mean nonce? Is goof slang for nonce in Canada or something? Because when I think of the word goof, I think of like goofy. You're calling someone silly or whatever. Chuck E. Cheese was mad at me. Yeah, I didn't care for the food there either. I just saw on Twitter Charlie Kirk did a racist impersonation of the DA in Fulton County on his show. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Fuck Charlie Kirk. He used to be a Trump supporter until the January incident. Well, at least you opened your eyes. I mean, shit, if January 6th didn't it wasn't enough to make someone, jump off the Trump train, then nothing will. We don't have any synthetic drugs in Canada. That mugshot is going to be memes to hell and back. Oh, I've already seen people make memes out the ass out of that mugshot. And a lot of them are funny as fuck. Hold on, let me get into a more comfortable position. And in the same position for an hour. It's really uncomfortable after a while. If all drugs were legal and you could buy them from corner stores like you can with alcohol, imagine all the crazy brands we would get. Yeah, I don't know if I'd buy any crazy brands myself though, because I'd rather just stick to weed. As a former meth user, I'm afraid of the drug bath salts. It's like meth times 50. If you go insane and take off your clothes because your body, damn. Yeah, I think I've heard of that before. I hate when people try to appeal to younger generations and fail miserably. Be yourself, and people will like you. Yeah, I can't stand these quirky and relatable people either. Same thing with brands. Like on Twitter, you see all these fucking corporate accounts try to be hip and cool with the kids, and it never comes off funny or relatable. It just comes across like a fucking 55-year-old trying to be cool with the kids, trying to make a fucking dollar off the young generation. Because that's all it is. Just want to fucking, they want to lure you in to buy their shit by acting, again, like I said, quirky and relatable. Not all millionaires are bad, but it's hard to say the same thing about billionaires. Well, being a you kind of do have to be a piece of shit to be a billionaire. There's no such thing as an ethical billionaire. I stopped supporting Trump before he ran for 2020. It was way back in early 2019 when I stopped supporting him. What made you stop supporting him? I mean, I'm glad you don't anymore, but I'm just curious, like, what was the straw that broke the camel's back? Or did you just, grow up? It's entirely possible too. Do you watch Three Arrows? Not on a regular basis. I don't think the guy even uploads that much either, but yeah, I've seen some of 3 Hour stuff and it's pretty good. Speaking of people trying to be cool, I had an anti-smoking assembly with a rap song in it. Oh god, yeah, it's fucking. Yeah, I've had my share of assemblies that I had to go to back in middle school. It was never fun. Never had a rap song there, but yeah, it's always funny watching these PSAs. Try to be hip and cool. I like watching anti-weed PSAs way back in the day sometimes. No, I remember one time me and my friends were getting high and we started watching like anti-weed PSAs during that, and it was a lot of fun. I left my SJW phase. I assume you mean anti-SJW in 2021 because at that point it seemed immature. Though even in that time I refused to use that word. What, SJW? I think even in 2021 SJW was going out the window. Woke that people say these days. I've never dealt with anti-weed propaganda, but I've been told many times that cigarettes are bad. I love watching old weed propaganda. Well, cigarettes are actually bad for you. That's true. But the weed propaganda shit is really funny. You don't really see that these days because, unless you're like, I don't know, a 60-year-old boomer, you know that weed generally isn't bad for you. So the propaganda doesn't really work on society anymore. I mean, it worked on, people. It worked on older generations, of course. I mean, my mom still believes in the gateway drug bullshit. I stopped supporting him when I found out he made fun of a disabled person, fired James Mattis, and called African countries shitholes. Yeah, that's a throwback. The shithole country remark. I remember when that first broke. Disgusting. Also disgusting when he made fun of a disabled person. I take some solace in the fact, though, that he's probably not going to win in 2024. I said this earlier in the stream, but I'll say it again. I think he's too toxic these days, at least to normie voters. Like I said before, again, of course, all of these indictments, him getting booked last night, all of that galvanizes his hardcore base. But when it comes to your average GOP voter, I'd imagine Trump leaves a really sour taste in their mouths now. The GOP is in a bit of a conundrum right now because uh, they can't outright disavow Trump, of course, because the crazy still take up a significant portion of the base, but there is also a large sector of the base that is so over with Trump because, again, with all these indictments and him getting booked. So you kind of have to walk on a tightrope now. You can't outright say fuck Trump, but you also at the same time kind of want to nudge away from him. I mean, there were some candidates up on the debate stage the other night, like Chris Christie, who are very anti-Trump, but who the fuck likes Chris Christie? I mean, his approval rating when he left office in New Jersey was abysmal. Whenever I see a comment unironically using the word woke, I reply with, "What exactly is woke?" No one has ever answered that question yet because they're too scared to answer that question. It's like every time there's a black person in a movie, then people are screeching woke, 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 and then you ask them, why is a black person being in a movie woke to you? And then they fucking struggle because they know that they'll get a lot of shit if they answer honestly. So they just hide behind the the buzzword, because it doesn't have any clear cut definition. Just label whatever you don't like woke instead of saying how you really feel. Which again, if you did say how you really feel, go completely masked off. Public is going to give you a lot of shit. I'm tired of the word woke too. I think a lot of GOP voters are tired of the word woke. I mean, look at DeSantis's campaign. It's fucking tanking. And his whole entire campaign is built around this anti-woke bullshit. Like, who the fuck cares? I don't care if someone wants to go through gender reassignment surgery. How does that affect my life? Or I don't care if Disney goes woke. I mean, that was a big part of his campaign too. I'm gonna take down Disney. I'm gonna go after the woke corporations. Like, good for you. How the fuck does that benefit us at all? People, millions of the people in this country who don't have health care or don't have adequate enough health care. Why should they give a fuck about woke corporations, or woke corporations? I should say, with quotes. Yeah, DeSantis doesn't have a chance in hell. I mean, I saw a funny video from a few weeks ago. I think it was in Iowa. He was speaking there, and then like a large portion of the crowd was yelling, "We want Trump! We want Trump!" And the Iowan governor had to fucking scold the crowd like she was a fucking kindergarten teacher talking to little kids, screeching into the mic saying, "Be nice, please stop." To me, complaining about a movie having a black person in it is a sign of degenerate behavior. It's a pretty big red flag that someone is racist. Yeah, I guess I'm pro woke in their eyes, and so be it. You're pro woke, whatever that means. I told my mom that woke actually what woke actually means, how it's been used as a buzzword for people to say thing I don't like. She now says that being woke isn't a bad thing, which is good. All right, well, at least you set the record straight with her. Good thing that the anti SJW bandwagon is dead. Well, it's not exactly dead. It kind of morphed into the anti woke shit. But again, even that, people are starting to get disillusioned by, because again, you have all these politicians, well, mostly DeSantis actually, making anti woke bullshit the entire basis of his campaign, and people aren't buying it anymore. People don't fucking care because again, people would rather you focus on real issues that people face in this country rather than this trivial bullshit. Like again, why should I care about Disney being woke? Why should I care that some people want to change their gender? Change their gender identity. It doesn't affect me. It doesn't affect anyone else. Let these people fucking live. Again, why should people fucking care? I saw a comment on a Turkey Tom video complaining about him being too woke. How the fuck is Turkey Tom woke? The guy isn't he a fucking fash? Man, you remember watching a video by someone else showing a clip from a Turkey Tom video of him making some very yikesy jokes about Jews. I'm proud to be woke, as in the actual definition. Say, being woke isn't bad. It's not. I don't really like what he's done in the past. Who Turkey Tom? I never liked that dude. I remember when I was at rehab in summer of 2021, a black patient named Jerry called me and a patient named Brent snowflakes and said we're proud snowflakes. I didn't know you were in rehab at one point. Oh, hey, 9 people. How are all of you doing? I remember some loser got mad over Checker Conroy posting a pro-trans tweet not long ago. Was that the tweet he made that was an indirect response to Elon Musk saying that imposing your gender identity on people is rude or whatever? Yeah, so fucking rude. I'd like to be called by she, her pronouns or he, him pronouns or they, them pronouns. Stop forcing your gender ideology onto me. The N word is probably the one word I refuse to use. It's not a word that just blurts out of my mouth when I'm angry like some people, like PewDiePie in that one stream. I remember defending that shit. I never made a video about that, but I remember posting on Discords about how PewDiePie just blurting out the N word in one stream because it was angry at a video game was perfectly fine. And I remember other people trying to defend that, saying like, "Well, he was mad at a video game. Sometimes you just blurt out things you don't mean when you're mad at a video game." Like, okay, I get pissed off when I play video games too. Sometimes I just start cursing up a fucking storm, even more than I usually do when I'm pissed off at a video game. But never ever have I yelled out the N word or any slur for that matter. If you just blurt out a word like that, it's typically because it's commonly used in your vocabulary. So yeah, it's a major red flag for him. Yeah, that tweet? Yeah, I thought so. I was in rehab because I had bad generalized anxiety and I suffered from racism OCD, which stems from the fear of becoming a racist, which was easily triggered by certain things like the Confederate flag. Well, I hope you received the help that you needed. You're better now. I suffer really bad anxiety too, but not to the point where I needed to go to rehab. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I've never had a problem with they them pronouns. It's not my business about what's in one pants. Well, pronouns typically don't have anything to do with that, but yeah, I don't care. Hell, I have a professor this upcoming semester, which starts in a few days. Well, technically, my semester starts today, but today is a Friday, and I never have classes on Fridays, so I'm still on vacation technically. But this upcoming week, I start my new semester, and one of my professors go by she/they pronouns. First time I've ever had an NB professor, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, I just respect one's pronouns because why should I be a dick about it? Present yourself and identify yourself however you please. It's not my place to judge you for that shit. It's not anyone's place to judge anyone for that shit. I gotta charge my laptop now. It's gonna be the little message that my computer will sleep soon unless plugged into a power outlet. Okay. Alright. It's charging now. Yeah, about a half hour left before I end this stream. Usually the computer's saying that it's dying is a signifier that the stream is gonna end soon. One of the words that I use the most when angry is goof. What does goof mean? Is it like an insult that's common in Canada or something? Because I've heard the word goof before, but I never really thought of it as something that's that insulting. I have autism and ADHD and potentially ODD. Mm. I have autism. I don't really tick any of the boxes for ADHD. Never diagnosed with it. But I got formally diagnosed with autism at a very young age. I think I was like age 4. Well, no, even probably maybe even a little younger than that because it took me a really long time to start speaking when I was a little kid. I think I didn't start speaking until like age 4. That really concerned my mother, and I think she got me checked out, and the doctor, and it was concluded that I have autism, and something that's common in a lot of autistic babies, little kids, is that they take a long time to actually start speaking. They take longer than most other people to actually start forming sentences and speaking and all that. Not to say that's the case for every autistic person, of course, but that was the case with me and a lot of other autistic people. My dad told me he was never really concerned about that, though. He said he would joke around about that a little bit. My mom would be really concerned about me not speaking, and my dad was like, he just doesn't have anything to say to anyone else. I don't know. Maybe he's just playing it off now, but he was really concerned back then. I did, and my mental health is doing better. I was able to get through work yesterday and today without getting agitated or having an anxiety attack. Yeah, you talked a little bit about that in my survey yesterday. Glad you're doing better. And hopefully that won't happen anytime soon again. I remember complaining about LGBTQ getting a month while war veterans get a day. Why not give them both a month of recognition? It's funny you say that because uh, May is usually usually the entire month of May is reserved for veterans. National Military Appreciation Month, also known as Military Appreciation Month, is a month-long observance observed in the United States, dedicated to people who are currently in the military or have resigned from duty. Each year, observance runs from May 1st to May 31st. So all of these conservatives screeching about how LGBT people get a month, while veterans don't get a month, are telling of themselves. They don't give enough of a fuck about veterans to know that there is an entire month reserved for veterans. So if you really, so if you really do fucking care, make a bigger deal about, you know, Veterans Month or National Military Appreciation Month. Speaking of college, I start college in September for math. 101, 1010, I'll say. Next semester, I take English 1010, then I get to and then I get into acting courses after that semester. Are you going to take acting courses? Cool. That shit. It's not for me at all. Goof is a common insult in Canada. It means a worthless person, or in some cases, a pedo. Does it? Because I don't think the word carries that same weight here in the States. I mean, I've heard people use goof before, but usually in reference to someone being silly or stupid, not really on the same level as calling someone worthless or fuck even a pedo. I have very mild autism. I have what people call high functioning autism. And I still don't like having autism. It's just where I'm at, just how I feel about it. Yeah, so that's the case. These people didn't do enough research. Well, yeah, they clearly don't care about enough about the veterans to even know that there is a month reserved for them. They both deserve respect. Well, yeah, I guess, but I don't know. I don't think someone is automatically a great person just because they served in the military. I mean, look at the pointless wars we fought in Afghanistan and Iraq. And I'll respect a person that's part of the LGBT community on the basis that they were brave enough to come out with or they're brave enough to be true about their sexuality and or gender identity. I'll respect that, but still, as a person, I prefer to like get to know them and things like that. One of my friends had Tourette's, and I'm one of his only friends because other kids don't like him. He also smokes weed sometimes, and it kind of calms down his tics. Well, that sucks that people don't want to associate with him because they might think he's weird or whatever. That's the problem with some neurodivergent people who, may have things like uncontrollable tics or whatever. People just dismiss that person as a weirdo because they may have their, odd quirks. Like, I was kind of like that in high school. Not the person at the receiving end, but the person making fun of other neurodivergent people because may be more neurodivergent than I am. I brought this up so many times. There was a kid in my high school that I think in freshman year he was in special ed, but the following year they put him in the mainstream classes, which was what I was in. And you know, he was, you know, he had his quirks, but people were really nasty towards him, and myself included. And that was partially because I didn't like being neurodivergent myself. So here was this kid that was even more neurodivergent than I am. So I could take out my frustrations about myself onto him. I wish I could contact that kid somehow and apologize to him, but I, of course, don't know his social media if he has any. All of his friends also have stuff like autism or ADHD. He doesn't have a single friend without having those problems. Well, I mean, people who suffer with similar disorders and such, you know, they have more in common than people who are not neurodivergent. So I can see why a lot of their friend group are people who are also neurodivergent. A lot of my friends in real life aren't neurodivergent. I have one friend, one of the bestest friends I made in high school. He was the one I mentioned in my latest video that introduced me to a lot of seniors that were older than me. He has autism. I didn't even know he had it because he's not like the stereotype, you know, the quiet kid, the weird kid. He was one of the most outgoing people I have ever seen. Truly jealous of him. But I've noticed a lot of the people I talk to online are also neurodivergent, but I like that people I relate to more. Used to make fun of other YouTubers for having a lot of people who are autistic in their fan base, but one, I have a lot of people who have autism in my fan base. And two, what the fuck is wrong with that? You know, it means you have more people who relate to you in your audience. I have Asperger's syndrome. Well, I do too, but I'd rather not call it that because Hans Asperger was a terrible, terrible man. I'd rather call it autism spectrum disorder. I hated high school. I've never dealt with any teacher. I've dealt with terrible students like that kid who kicked the stall door while I was inside. And there was this one time I got my sig stolen. Who the fuck would kick a stalled door while someone is inside? Well, I remember when I was in middle school, some asshole kid, I don't know who the fuck it was because I was in a stall, but some kid was throwing wet paper towels into the stall I was in. One of them hit me right on the head. So fuck whoever that was. What do I think of band kid memes? I don't even know what the fuck that is. Yeah, I've never seen any of these memes. Taking a cursory look on Google real quick. The stall door was so crappy that it was easy to just kick down the door with a few tries. Yeah, shit like that is why I barely ever used the bathroom in high school, unless I really, really had to go. Because, obviously, as you all know, I'm sure, school bathrooms are fucking disgusting. Like, a lot of the times I go in there, there'd be like a turd in the toilet that someone didn't bother to flush. Or just in general, the fucking walls and everything would be just filthy. Yeah. Public bathrooms in general, I avoid unless I really have to fucking go. And not to mention, just going to the bathroom is miserable because there's almost always a line in front of the bathroom. So yeah, it's just something that I wanted to avoid at all costs. I remember seeing kids vaping in the men's room in high school. I knew some kids who'd sneak in vapes in school. Remember one time some kids were vaping in class when the teacher wasn't looking. I think the teacher went out for a few minutes, and I took some hits too. I always went in the stalls because I hated being seen at the urinal. One time I saw vomit on the toilet in grade six. I'm glad someone else can relate with that because I never use urinals. Never. I always just go to the stall, and if there's not a stall available, well, I don't use the bathroom. Or I just go to another bathroom if we're, at my college. Don't forget about those name was here things written on the walls. Oh God! Remember, one time I was using the bathroom in high school. One of the rare times I went to the bathroom in high school. On the stall door, it was written that so and so is a whore. Some girl that was in my high school, and then her phone number is written. That was fucked up. I'm guessing maybe it was a disgruntled ex or something. How much longer am I streaming? 17 more minutes. So one streaming for an hour and 48 minutes, and I usually end with the 2 hour and 5 minute mark. So yeah, not much longer if you're really itching to leave. Why not write you're next in red room? A kid once hit a dab pen in the middle of class when the teacher was gone for a minute. Based. Someone wrote Deacon was here in the bathroom in grade 5 and I got blamed for it. Is your name Deacon? You ever mentioned your real name? Or at least I don't remember. What's my opinion on Gamergate 9 years later? That shit was really fucking stupid. It was the catalyst for, the anti SJW movement and now the anti woke movement, as it's called now. Yeah, I don't have a favorable opinion on Gamergate. It's crazy to think that was 9 years ago, though. I remember when that shit was happening. I didn't really know much about it. I didn't really care that much. I was 13 back then in 2014. All I knew was that people were complaining about feminists in the video game industry or whatever. That was before I really got on the anti-feminist hate train. I didn't really know much about it, so I didn't really pay much attention to it. Wasn't until the following year when I started really paying attention to the anti-SJW bullshit. Your real name is Deacon. Ah, okay. Have I seen that video of the guy in the bus making a "we have to win" speech? I don't believe I have. That doesn't sound familiar. Discord notification. What is this? Someone posted in the stupid comments chat. I'll read that later. COVID started when I was finishing 8th grade. Shit, I was already done with high school. I was in my second semester of community college back when it started. Yeah. For community college, the only semester I had that was fully in person was the fall 2019 semester. At least I got to have my first semester of college be in person before everything went to shit. But it kind of sucked because that college had a really nice campus that I liked being on, and I only spent like a month in the on campus before everything shut down, or a little over a month. My semester started in late January, and everything started locking down in early March of 2020. I didn't find out about Gamergate until 2018. I'm lucky you dodged all that shit back when it was still going on. I remember watching YouTube on my old iPod Touch at age 7, playing Angry Birds, and I would watch 2011 to 2014 Smosh. Smosh, what a throwback. Well, Smosh is back in full force now. Anthony is making videos again with Smosh, and while I outgrew the content, it's nothing I watch on a regular basis or anything. I did see like one or two videos after Anthony came back, and it was really nice nostalgia trip. It reminded me of the videos I'd watch as a kid. So it's cool seeing them as a duo again. I was still in elementary school when Gamergate was a thing. I was in middle school. Look up "Kid on the Bus win this game" speech. Well, not right now. I'm still streaming. Maybe I'll do that after the stream. Yeah, I don't do reactions or whatever on these streams. If that's what you're trying to get me to do, I mean, I'm in grade 12 now. I switched from not doing school to at all to online school, and I start in September. Oh, you're actually gonna finish? I remember you mentioned in these streams, and I think my Discord server before that you dropped out. It's cool that you're gonna finish. Deacon is apparently an uncommon name. I'm the only person I've ever met in my life named Deacon. I've never met any Deacons before, well, besides you, of course. Reminds me of John Deacon from Queen. That's a last name, not a first name in that case. There's literally a song called "Kill All SJWs," no joke. Well, I don't doubt that because a lot of anti-SJWs back in the day were fucking unhinged. I didn't completely understand their edgy humor and watched it only because it had to swear and go. Yeah, I actually did find Smosh to be funny back in the day. I mean, they're still funny. I mean, like again watched some of their new stuff, and it's still amusing. But yeah, I thought Smosh was the shit back when I was like 10, 11. Well, actually 11. I think it was 2012 I was watching them. The good old days of Smosh. I don't want to reveal my last name, but my middle name is Gordon. Yeah, you don't have to reveal your last name if you don't want to. I hate this fucking heart emoji that's on the side. Those of you who are not familiar with YouTube streaming interface, there's, of course, the screen that shows me, and then the chat on the side. But now there's this little heart emoji where if you hover over it, it shows some other emojis that you could put in the chat, and it fucking blocks some of the latest messages sometimes. It's annoying. Maybe I'll take a picture of it. Maybe I'll share it on Discord to show you what I'm talking about. Maybe I'll post it later. I don't know. Probably have to remind me because I'll probably forget. Like right now with Bong Milker's message partially covering it. I still remember Smosh's Pokemon lip sync parody. Yeah, I think I remember watching that back in the day. They made a lot of video game parody stuff. For some reason, my favorite shows as a child were SpongeBob and Fanboy and Chum Chum. Early SpongeBob is great. Fanboy and Chum Chum I thought was amusing back when I was a kid. Well, I actually did kind of like the show as a kid. Ooh, I saw some clips from that show a few years ago though, and now that I'm an adult, I can say that show was fucking terrible. I never liked Fanboy and Chum Chum because of the gross out humor. The character designs were ugly, in my opinion. Yeah, it wasn't the prettiest show to look at. It's just a really fucking annoying show in general. Always like hyped up, hyper and all that shit. But I guess it did its job since 9-year-old me liked that show. That's I'm sure the age demographic that show was aimed at. So of course, me as an adult is not gonna like it. I also watched the Backyardigans Team Umi Zumi when I was really little. I remember Backyardigans. I really liked that show as a kid. I don't know the second show though. I don't think I ever heard of it. Yeah, I don't know what the fuck Team Umi Zumi is. Remember Max and Ruby and 2B and I remember Max and Ruby. Yeah, that was on Nick Jr. right, or was it PBS? I forget, but yeah, I liked Max and Ruby a lot, but Soupy and Bino, no, I never heard of that. It was a show from the year 2010. Oh, no wonder, because by 2010 I wasn't watching Nick Jr. anymore. I was all grown up. I was 9 years old. No, by that point I didn't care about the Nick Jr. shows anymore. I just watched regular Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network by that point. Yes, I do remember Go Diego Go. Is that still going? I'm pretty sure Dora is still going, right? I think, but I don't know about Go Diego Go. Dora was my shit when I was a little kid. Used to always love watching Dora. I stopped watching these baby shows at age 7 because I thought I was too old. Yeah, so mature. 7 years old. No, I think that was probably around the age I stopped watching those shows too. Or maybe a little older. Maybe I was 8. I don't know. But definitely by age 9 in 2010, I wasn't watching those shows anymore. I remember when Nick Jr. was still called Noggin. Yeah, I was actually kind of bummed when they changed it to Nick Jr. I remember it being called Noggin, and they changed it one day. And everyone hated the show I am going to mention, Caillou. Not me. I liked Caillou as a kid. I can't comment on the show now, but I actually enjoyed it when I was a kid. Probably an anomaly, but yeah, I actually did enjoy Caillou when I was little. A lot of people shit on the show now, probably for good reason. I don't know, but no, I liked that show. I mostly liked the segments with the cat though. That was the show that had the little cat puppet thing, right? Like I remember talking to some people about liking Caillou online, and I think uh, I think it was my friend John who once told me, John on my Discord server, I mean, who said to me, "Oh, I feel really sorry for you. You liked Caillou as a kid." And I'm like, I liked it as a kid. I enjoyed it. I don't know what there is to be sorry about. I also watched Caillou, Dora, and Diego. I liked Dora and Diego as a kid, not Caillou. I hope this anti-trans, what a shift in topics. I hope this anti-trans panic bites the GOP hard in 2024. I think it will. Like I've said before so many times, the GOP is getting really fucking sick of the anti-trans panic. It seems it wasn't even brought up that much in the debates the other night. I don't think I remember them talking about it at all. I know they did talk about it at some point, but I turned it off when there was like an hour left. Because I couldn't fucking stomach that shit anymore. So they probably talked about it then, but yeah, if the, sorry, I had a burp coming, but if this were last year, I'm sure the debates would be fucking dominated by anti-trans talking points. But no, people are just over it at this point. I preferred it when it was called Noggin. You went from talking about baby shows to that. Yeah, that's what's fun about these streams, though, the variety in topics. I remember when Noggin and Nick Jr. had Moose and Z as the host. Was Z that little blue bird? I remember the moose. I remember baby show rants. Yeah, it's always weird seeing these teenagers and adults rant on shows that are not within their age demographic. Like, yeah, no shit, you're not gonna like Dora or Caillou or any of those shows because kind of aimed at 7-year-olds. Like, yeah. What are your thoughts on BitChute Nazi helpful? Z was the bird, yeah. Like I figured because obviously the moose is going to be called. Obviously, when you said moose, that refers to the moose who's one of the hosts. So I remember there also being a bird. I would talk about Go Anime, but I'm done now. It's the 2 hour and 5 minute mark. My voice hurts, so I'm gonna end the stream now. Thank you all for being here. Thank you to all of those who were here before that are not here now. I appreciate everyone who tuned into these streams, especially those of you who can stomach listening to me for 2 hours. Jesus, what brave soldiers you people are. But anyway, this was fun. Expect the stream in September. When in September, I don't fucking know because I do these streams whenever I feel like it. Anyway, see ya.